Lions fans, and welcome yet again to another episode of Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in. So, I know I've been pushing out a lot of content lately, but again, we're going to keep up with the pace as best as we can because news is coming in fast and furious, and we got to keep up, and we're doing our best here. So, what are we going to talk about in today's episode? In this episode today, what we're talking about is a report that just recently came out that the Lions are reportedly interested in San Francisco 49ers defensive interior tackle Arik Armstead. Now, where am I getting this from? A tweet was recently put out that the Lions have been inquiring, they have shown interest in acquiring Armstead, and this right now, I can tell you, is welcome news for Lions fans. Why is it welcome news? Because it actually is I'm going to say this right now. As I've said before, this free agency period has definitely been testing the patience for a lot of Lions fans. And they have been wanting to see Brad Holmes make some kind of a move that actually has some prominence to it. Maybe a little hoi polloi, if you will. Something that is going to show that, hey, the Lions are actually doing something that is actually, of noteworthiness. This news right here, even though it's not, the Lions have officially signed, they have acquired, they're in negotiations, all it's simply saying is that the Lions are interested. Now, I know that's not necessarily the biggest news that we could talk about, but you have to understand who we are talking about here. We're talking about Arik Armstead, folks. This guy is considered one of the best defensive interior linemen in the entirety of the NFL, and there's a reason why. Go to PFF. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If you go and you check out his stats and his grades from PFF from last year, he was the 6th highest ranked pass rushing interior defensive lineman in the NFL. And on top of that, he had the 10th highest pass rush win rate in terms of the NFL for all defensive interior linemen. So it's like, okay here, let's think about this. You have Aiden Hutchinson, who's on the outside, who's an edge rusher, who primarily lines up at, if I recall correctly, the left-hand side of the formation, which typically means he's dealing with right tackles. Then you were to potentially, in this hypothetical situation, you go out and you get Arik Armstead. We don't know exactly what Arik Armstead is going to ask for, but I'm going to imagine it's going to be something at least somewhat substantial. He's not just going to play for nothing. But you have to think about this. You go out and you get Arik Armstead. You then pair him in the middle with Aleem McNeil. And now you have got an absolute just monster, a mammoth of an individual that is in the middle of that defensive line that is going to make that Detroit Lions defensive line even more of a nightmare, even more freakish. Because think about this, folks. You want to know how big Arik Armstead is? He is 6'7", almost 300 pounds. The man is a mammoth. He is a mountain. It's hard to move guys that big. And you have to think about it. For a guy that is not only that big, but also physical enough to give a pass rush up the middle. Okay, let's think about this, folks. You have a Hutchinson on the outside who can provide an edge rush. He had one of the highest pass rush win rates out of all edge rushers last year. Had 11.5 sacks. You take a look at Armstead, if I recall correctly, he had like 6.5 sacks, something like that for last year. And again, like I said, 10th highest pass rush win rate for a defensive interior lineman and the 6th best grade for a defensive interior lineman in terms of pass rush from PFF. Think about that. Okay, now you've got potentially those two on the same defensive line. Because again, like I said, the Lions have expressed interest supposedly in going out and getting Armstead. Now, I know for a lot of other people, they want to potentially see the Lions go out and get another edge rusher to pair with, Hutchinson. Here's what I'm going to say. Let's just play the hypothetical here because I've seen a lot of comments talk about this. And I'm just going to give it some airtime here for a moment. Let's just say hypothetically that, Betts, who we got from the CFL, he shines out and he takes the prominence, the sheer domination that he had from the CFL, and it translates to the NFL. And it's like, hey, the leading sack, the leading sack guy from the freaking CFL, he comes to the NFL and he absolutely dominates. Okay, let's just play that game. Or let's just say, hypothetically, like I said, that Davenport is able to recapture what he was able to do back in 2021. Okay, then at that point, if everything plays out that way, you've now got a guy in Betts who I would say if he's able to translate what he did in the CFL to the NFL, okay, now you're probably getting a guy that can give you double-digit sacks at least, because if I recall correctly, last year in the CFL, he got close to damn near 20 sacks. So it's like, okay, you can get like 10 or 12 sacks from Betts. If Davenport holds up, you got another guy who can give you easily about 6, 8, maybe 9 sacks. Then you've got Armstead, who, as we know, is one of the best pass-rushing interior defensive linemen in the league. Okay, you could probably get another 6, 7, 8 sacks from him. You take a look at Aleem McNeil. This last year, he was doing pretty good in terms of getting sacks. I think he had 5.5, almost 6 sacks. And then obviously, you got Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson, who had 9.5 sacks his rookie year, coupled it up with another year of 11.5 sacks this year. If everything plays out the way I'm starting to think it might play out, if it actually, goes that direction, then potentially you've now got a unit from start to finish, from one side to the next, that could potentially cause a lot of mayhem. It could potentially cause a lot of disrupting force for opposing offenses. I'm not saying that I'm fully on that thought process yet. I'm just starting to think that way because it's like, okay, here. We have constantly been talking about going out and getting a big-time edge rusher. And like I said in a previous episode today, the thoughts of maybe, going out and getting Bosa or Khalil Mack was an idea. Obviously, we know Khalil Mack is not going to be leaving the Chargers. The Chargers have already announced that. Joey Bosa is still up in the air, but again, don't know if the Lions are going to try and actually make a push to, get him. But again, it is a possibility. And I keep using that word because it is a possibility. Likelihood? Probably not. But possibility? Yes. But when we're talking about Arik Armstead, there is a report, like I said from Twitter, that states that the Lions are interested. They do want to potentially bring him in. Obviously, there are other teams that are interested in him. But the point of the matter is, the Lions are reportedly and supposedly and have been stated that they are connected to bringing in a guy like Arik Armstead. That checks off a lot of boxes for a lot of Lions fans because he's a big name. He is considered one of the best in terms of what he does. And if he's brought to this Detroit Lions defense, now you have the validation factor. Now you have that factor of saying, okay, this is a defense that we can see take that next step. This is a defense where it's like, okay, we're now making moves to take that defense to the ability to get us to a Super Bowl. We now have a defense that can be paired opposite of our prolific offense, and now we're ready to start going towards getting that Super Bowl. That's ultimately what these Lions fans that are frustrated are wanting. They want to be able to say, hey, we've made moves on defense to couple with our offense. We're gunning for a Super Bowl. We're gunning for a championship. That is where that frustration is coming from. And if you bring in Arik Armstead, at that point, you've now given them something to hold on to. You've now given them something to believe in. You've now given them something to say, hey, this is what we can prove to say this is our evidence that the Lions are actually making that progress towards a Super Bowl. They're making that progress to make the defense better. They're making that progress to actually be a consistent contender threat. That's why I think this news of Arik Armstead being an interest of the Detroit Lions is massive because it shows that, okay, to the Lions fans that are frustrated, Brad Holmes is interested in improving this defense, and he is interested in bringing in guys that have some sort of a validation factor as far as being big-name free agents and could do something for the Lions. But at the same time, it also shows that, once again, the Lions are, as I said earlier, they are very methodical, they are very precise, they are very deliberate about who they want. They're not just going to go after or express interest in any old person. They want the guys that fit their narrative. They want the guys that fit their culture. They want the guys that fit their ideology. So it's like, hey, the interest that the Lions have in Armstead means that they think that he is a fit for our culture. He is a fit for our ideology. And if the Lions are able to make the deal come to fruition, then I am all for it. And I know that a lot of other Lions fans would be more than all for it. But anyway, folks, just wanted to put this out there really quickly. It has been an absolute whirlwind of a day for me. But you know what? We're here. We're going to continue to do what we can do, and we're going to keep pushing out content as soon as we have information to push out. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I'd encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you've not had a chance to do so, again, can, please subscribe. I'm ever so thankful for every single one I can get. But also encourage y'all, please, to make sure you hit that bell notification icon at the bottom so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure you guys can come back so that way we can continue to make sure you guys get the most up-to-date content that I have. Also encourage y'all to share the content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook. Share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody, anybody that you can. The more we share it, the greater the channel spreads and the greater the channel grows. And with that being said to everybody, I hope y'all are having a great day. I hope y'all are doing well. Hope you got something to make you smile. And I hope that you guys are just doing absolutely the best you possibly can in whatever you're doing. God bless. Hope y'all enjoyed the content. And until the next time we meet, I'll see y'all in the next episode.